I thank you for being with us today. This is Integrated Theology, and this will be the second supplemental lecture that will be entitled Thought That Is Eternally Thought. I am your host, Bishop Dr. Derek A. Reeves. Let's dive right in. When we talk about thought that is eternally thought, the only way we can begin to even approach this scenario, we have to understand the mind of God. When we speak of one of his omni-qualities, which I believe is one of the most powerful, not taking away from any other quality, but I believe that specific things or specific qualities of God can emanate through him or exist in him because of his omniscient capacity. The omniscience of God, or knowing all things, means that having all knowledge, every form of knowledge that Scripture speaks of, which means you have to look at every definition of knowledge. You have to understand it perspectively. You have to understand it conceptually. And once we get the understanding of it, then we have to relay it on, relate it to, first of all, space and time, the time or the position of being transcendent. We have to relate it to past, present, future, and then the various degrees. So when we speak of dimensional knowledge of God that is eternal, we understand that from every perspective, from every position, from every level, knowledge can be attained and is known by God. And perhaps the word obtained is not a correct word when dealing with God, because he has all knowledge at his disposal. And so in addressing the eternal thoughts that have eternally been thought, we have to understand that the mind of God thinks differently than we do. We chronologically, in many cases, put together precepts and concepts and principles so we can construct something that brings us clarity within the focus of a specific knowledge. And so we gather the Greek terminology, lego. We are laying forth, we are piecemealing it, we are compiling it, we are examining it, we are making sense of it. And as we make sense of it, we construct it in a more viable, in a much more conducive, and in a much more comprehensive manner. The compilation of it indicates then that the knowledge we have is finite, because we must piecemeal it together. We take piece by piece, sound by sound, letter by letter, word by word, phrase by phrase, and then we're always re-examining it. Now, with God, his knowledge then is so infinitely comprehensive that he knows the end as well as the beginning simultaneously. And the scripture says he literally knows the end before the beginning, because he's already thought it out in eternity. He never began to think, but he was always in conclusionary mode of thought. Conclusionary mode of thought simply means that he already has the summit of knowledge. He already has the basics of knowledge, but the fruition of all that that knowledge can be. He has ever known it. He's never had to learn it. He's never had to study about it. He's never had to memorize it, because he cannot lose the knowledge he has, because in his knowledge he is immutable. In his knowledge he is unchanging. And so He can't forget, he can't lose, he can't learn. His knowledge is always finished. His knowledge is always complete. His knowledge is always known from a possiological perspective. When we speak of the term pos, we speak of every declension, every existence of every kind, every shape, every place, every characteristic. God's mind is in the fulfillment of all knowledge, in the assertion of everything that can be known. And so when we speak of thoughts that are eternally thought, we're speaking of the mind of God, which does not have to recapture, reformulate, revive, rethink, recapitulate, reorganize. The perfection of his mind enabled him to always have true understanding of true facts, complete understanding of complete facts. You see, some of the qualities of God are unknown by us. And one quality is the quality of omniety. I was still very shocked when I discovered that this term is not in every dictionary, but omniety then deals with absolute. The absolute means that it has reached the pinnacle. It is the mold or the standard of something. And so if the knowledge of God is omnious, or he has omniety of knowledge and thought, then it literally means that he is absolute thought, absolute what? Assertion of information. He is the information of information, which means he is the compiled reality of facts. And whatever those facts are composed of, he is it. He is the reality of thought that is based on the reverberation of sounds to reproduce the sound of a letter, of a word, of a phrase, of a sentence. He is the information of the information whereby which the communication in the tones can release all of the knowledge, all of the wisdom, all that God knows through verbalization. And so in understanding again eternal thought, it is thought that has consistently, perpetually been known by God, not rehearsed, but known. One of the most astounding things that I perceive is when God can know every bit of knowledge from every perspective, of every type, of every degree, about everything. And yet, the thought will be the conclusion and the whole ramification of everything without him being confused, without his mind being over encumbered, without his mind being swayed to one way, without his mind totally being overwhelmed. We could not listen to 3 sound bites of information or 3 lectures at the same time and be able to incorporate that information into usable information. Our minds operate in the tandem of time. Therefore, it takes time for us to perceive information coming in, to take the information and to rationalize it in the mind, then to gain understanding of what this information means, and then to be aware of how the information must or should be used. God is in a process, a state, Process means something that may be happening. And so we could say an eternal process. He is in a state where he knows all facts right now. And the conglomeration of all those facts are in his mind. And he knows it. He understands it. He realizes it. There is no fact that can escape his mind. There is no knowledge that can cause him to scratch his anthropomorphically based head. There is no understanding of information that our God does not have. I'm going to stop here. I thank you for joining me. This has been Integrated Theology. I am your host, Bishop Dr. Terry K. Reeves. Until next time, God bless you and keep you.